These trash talkers did their best to rattle their opponents pre-fight. But when the time came to throw down, they truly realized that talk is cheap. Here's what happens when trash talkers get what they deserve. To kick things off, we have a long and drawn-out rivalry between the former UFC fighter Norman Park and the far less well-known Polish fighter Piotr Zeliga in a custom rules bout. The fight would involve a small cage and boxing rules for the first round, before the two would switch to MMA for the second and third rounds. Zeliga did his best to try and amp up the stakes by getting right in Park's face when they first met, trying to provoke a reaction out of the Northern Irishman by claiming he was the next Mike Tyson.
I spar with proof. I spar fucking faster, man. I spar with proof. I'm fucking faster. I spar with proof. I'm fucking faster. Tell him I spar with proof. I'm fucking Tyson, man. Holy fucking Iron Tyson, kurwa. Dennis is...
And yeah, you could see Park crack a smile at that moment. This Zeliga guy might look like a tough guy, but there's a difference between having the physique of a bodybuilder and knowing how to fight. And Park had already been in there with world-class opposition. And this wouldn't be the only time they clashed. The pair met again, this time in a hotel lobby. And while it wasn't the type of feud that was going to result in all-out chaos just yet, you could feel the tension in the air. Norman was definitely the far more well-known talent of the two, and Zeliga, though he talked a big game, was a little out of place, asking Norman who he was.
My manager is calling me now. If you want the big gloves, big cage, come on, man. Yeah. Who are you? Who are you, kurwa? You come to the Freak Federation, yeah? Yeah. So you can. So what? Yeah. So you have the problem. Yeah, I can fight with anyone. So go crazy, go KSW, fight 5 rounds, normal cage, everything. No problem, I can fight there too. You can't fight in the KSW cage. You can't fight there. My rules, pal. You don't make rules, stay right there. Pumpkin.
You don't get into the UFC for nothing, folks. And Stormin' Norman Park definitely earned his stripes the hard way. Negotiations over the rules saw this fight take place in an extra small, modified MMA cage, something that seemed to be a source of contention between them, with Park asking Zeliga why he wouldn't just fight him in KSW. Here's where things got pretty funny. Zeliga was in full Terminator mode when the time came to face off with Norman ahead of their scheduled fight. He looked tough, and he certainly did his best attempt at mean-mugging Park. But Norman had seen this trick before, and when the time came to get right up in each other's faces, Park was as cold as ice.
Step back. Step back. Cool. Yeah, come on, man. Let me look at you right. Boom.
Zeliga then made his first major mistake when he tried to make Norman flinch, faking a punch while shouting, "Boo." Well, it didn't work, and Park had very clearly won the first mental back and forth between the two. Fights are not won and lost in press conferences, but you could definitely see the dynamic between these two building. In the first round, the boxing round, it was all Park. He was so much better than Zeliga in every sense. The distance control, the footwork, the accuracy. He basically beat the brakes off his opponent from start to finish, and even scored a knockdown early on. Park continued to land concussive blows, but to his credit, Zeliga did manage to survive until round 2, and the beginning of the MMA portion of the fight. But his confidence had likely taken some major hits, just like his chin.
Wydaje mi się, że dla Shelley'ego... Ależ trafił Norman! Nie wiem, czy to będzie liczenie.
Despite opening up with an audacious knee attempt and a barrage of shots, Zeliga's best moment of the fight was also his last good moment of the fight. Norman basically took control in round 2, scoring an early takedown before establishing a postured up top position. From there, he basically rained down shots until the ref jumped in to save Zeliga from any further punishment. A total mismatch in every sense of the word. Who knows why Zeliga had such confidence in his ability? He really didn't have a hope in hell. This next one is a real case of going from maybe the best possible scenario to the worst. Okay, perhaps we're being a little hard on Bermane Stiverne, but after his first clash with Deontay Wilder, he had the honor of being the only fighter to not get KO. His confidence in his ability to deal with Deontay's power was grossly overstated, and it caused him to get way too confident in the build-up for the rematch. Stiverne very bluntly told Wilder he was going to KO him in his second effort, and no amount of nuclear-charged punching power was going to help him.
He said that he fears for my life. You fear for my life, man? You fear for my life? I don't fear for your life. Because I'm a kid. If that's what it takes for me to take that title, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to walk away with a smile on my face. Now you look at me, man. It's been what? I ain't going to do nothing. Don't worry about it. All of that is for Saturday night. Boy, you don't even know. You caught me slipping the last time. Ain't nobody going to slip. I'm going to be on your ass. I'm going to be on your ass, boy. I'm going to be on your ass. Pull all that front. Y'all better go back there because y'all don't want none of that shit. But Saturday, November 4th, I promise you, to God, I will be two-time heavyweight champion of the world. And none of these gonna stop me. None of y'all gonna stop me. I promise you that. Promise you.
All right.
You can smile all you want, boy. You won't be smiling because I'm gonna see you packing home without the belt. And I'm gonna take that box too and put it in the garbage for you.
Oh, how this one did not age well. Either way, Stiverne definitely did his part in selling the matchup to the fans. Wilder was a great puncher for sure, but his technical boxing wasn't exactly the best in the world. Perhaps, if anyone had a chance of beating him, maybe it was the one guy who he'd failed to put away in fight number 1. Or at least, that was the narrative coming in. Wilder seemed very confident and relaxed throughout the entire build-up, laughing off Bermane's attempts to sell the fight. It must be comforting to know you hit harder than any guy who's laced up boxing gloves this century, maybe ever. And Wilder gave an aura of real easygoingness before this matchup, because he definitely knew something that Bermane Stiverne did not know. But man, Deontay Wilder very clearly didn't like this one blemish on his otherwise perfect knockout record. Beat this man badly, confident in his chin and his ability to hang with the heavyweight assassin that stood before him. But as it turned out, a star like Ryan Garcia really is the whole package. In some ways, his levels of hype, due to his look and attitude, can also get in the way of some more grounded expectations about his ability. But we'll get to that later. For this segment, we're going to look at the time that King Ryan took on a very competent and aggressive Javier Fortuna in July 2022.
Eso a ti no te garantiza que el sábado te voy a romper tu cara y tu cabeza. Te voy a mi corazón.
But this doesn't guarantee on Saturday night I'm not going to, take your head off.
Thank you.
One more time, Jaime, that translation.
He said, this doesn't guarantee me giving you the cap that on Saturday night I'm not going to take your head off.
100%. We know what we do in the ring. I'm coming to fuck him up too. So I don't care if he gives me a hat or not. I'm gonna go and whip his ass. That's it.
Eso también va para ti también, Abejón. Dice que el sábado por la noche el intercambiar gorras no significa nada, que él también viene por ti y que también te va a degollar.
Muy bien, espero que no tenga ninguna excusa.
That's a good thing. I don't want any excuses.
There it is, the
like
main event. Saturday night on DAZN. Let's get a face-off right here, Ryan. Abejón, ahí deja. Put the microphone down, right? DAZN.com. First one. Then we'll put the hats back on. Hold on. We'll get the hats back on. We get the official one. Saturday on DAZN, 5 o'clock.
Seen as a decent test for Garcia, Fortuna was still an aging talent and not expected to pose any major threat to the highly bankable star Garcia. Like many fighters in his position, Fortuna was forced to resort to intimidation tactics to try and even the playing field. He got right up in Garcia's face repeatedly, trying to test the young fighter's mettle with very unhinged demeanor. It's the classic example of bullying behavior. He probably knew there was a good chance he'd be outgunned in this fight, and so with his best option clear in his mind, Fortuna set the tone early. But Garcia would not be so easily thrown off course. No, his demeanor was very calm and cool throughout, and he didn't in any way seem fazed by his opponent's attitude. No, Garcia was showing himself to have wisdom beyond his years, knowing that any slip could be interpreted as mental weakness. And as they faced off, the fans at the very least knew that tensions were high, something that could potentially have an effect on fight night. But when that first bell rang, it was all Garcia in there. The first 3 rounds were comfortable for Garcia as he warmed into the contest and made sure that there weren't going to be any unexpected slip-ups. Taking time like this, especially when fighting an amped-up older dude, can be a good idea. If Garcia's temper or his emotions were running hot, there's a good chance he would have jumped into a hard counter shot and played into Fortuna's game plan from the get-go. However, no, Ryan was composed and was very clearly not willing to make mistakes in a fight that he was confident he could win on the merits of his boxing alone. But when his first knockdown came in the 4th round, it really signaled Fortuna's doom. A second knockdown in round 5 only made matters worse for his opponent. But it was the electric combo in round 6 that finally put Fortuna down for good, bringing his night to an end and leaving King Ryan with one of his best performances.
In Los Angeles, how do you like it?
You want a definitive win?
Downstairs, if you're an opponent of Ryan Garcia, you gotta watch out. Where is it going to happen?
Well, guess what? Tank Davis.
But we also got to shine a light on what can happen when the prospect bites off more than they can chew. In this case, Ryan Garcia, with his second appearance on this video. As a promoter, a fight between 2 bona fide superstars is a rare thing, a major chance to make the type of money and commercial event that only comes around once in a blue moon. But while both Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis were bankable stars at the time of their fight, it was clear to most experts that they were at different stages of their careers. Gervonta was definitely the more proven fighter, the older, more experienced, and higher-level talent who'd been showcasing his skill against better opposition for longer. And in the face of the younger, more brash Garcia, he definitely seemed to have the advantage in confidence.
Hard, got determination you never seen before. You like to fight guys that don't hit hard. But guess what? I do hit hard. And when I hit you with that left hook, yeah, what else? You're going to see it every watch. When I hit you with it, you're going to be like, what? You're on the floor. Sleep. Good night. Exactly. What else? Then you're going to wake up in the hospital. What else? I'm awake now. What else? You're going to wake up. Then when you wake up, then what?
I'm dead serious. It's gonna happen, it's gonna be over. Quick. So quick. Look at you. What? Speak a little louder, I can't hear you. That's all it's gonna take. I just need a sing shot. Just this one. I just need this one. Trust me. The left
hook. I only need one too.
Okay.
You get that too?
That's fine. All right, then we both got it. We both got it.
Like, come on, bro.
I can't hear you.
I touch that jaw, I'm telling you, you're going to sleep.
When I touch anything, you're going to sleep.
I promise you. Once I touch that jaw, you're going to sleep. I'll probably break your jaw. Facts.
I feel like I'm gonna break your jaw with the hook. I just see.
I
just see you on the floor with a broken jaw.
Go at the tip.
Seriously. Saturday, everything. Your whole career is gonna come to a halt. Not finished. You'll be able to come back a good man, but trust me, everything comes to a halt.
Garcia was a little louder, a little more unsettled with his trash talk. And when he tried to convince the world that he had more power and danger in his game than anyone Tank has faced before, it was easy to see past it. Sure, Ryan Garcia is a man who has a great future in the sport, but his attempts to rattle Davis fell flat. He even resorted to telling him to simply speak up at the presser, trying to assert dominance by any means necessary. But Tank knew something that Garcia seemingly did not, and when it comes to taking a mentally stubborn warrior like him, you need more than words at a press conference to navigate the gap in skills. And on fight night, we saw the real golfing quality come to the fore. Early on, though, it seemed like perhaps we were wrong. Garcia was definitely in this fight, looking confident in round 1 as he pushed the pace. But like many great fighters, Tank was just biding his time, making his reads. And there was a pattern of poor defense in Ryan Garcia's history, and it only took until round 2 for Davis to find his moment, blasting Garcia right on the chin with a hard shot, sitting him down on the canvas. Talk about a nightmare start. And trust us, things didn't get better for him. Davis was clearly the better fighter, the more accurate puncher, but the more solid defense. And Garcia must have realized at this point that he'd bitten off more than he could chew. And once Tank sensed that Garcia's morale was low, he continued the assault, eventually breaking his target with a thunderous body shot in round 7, causing a strange delayed reaction from Ryan. At first, it looked like he absorbed the blow well, and then immediately, his engine started to shut down and he hit the canvas on one knee. The fight was over, and Ryan Garcia was forced to accept that he'd taken a far greater challenge than he was really capable of at this point in his career. Back to the drawing board, it seems. Just as Fortuna had overestimated his chances in there with Garcia, Ryan had done the same against one of the very best fighters on the planet in Tank Davis. He's since returned to the ring with a win, so all hope is definitely not lost for King Ryan. But the words reality check do come to mind when we think of this one.
Much like Garcia's promoter Oscar De La Hoya with a delayed reaction, Gervonta Tank Davis just stopped.
The thing about having an undefeated record is that you don't truly understand what it's like to be proven totally wrong at the highest level. You could be good, sure. Plant was a world champion level fighter who was held in quite a high regard. But up against a modern-day legend like Canelo, he was destined to fail. Or at least that's what most experts believed. But Plant turned up the heat with the trash talking as soon as he could. And at first, it did seem like he was having an effect on Canelo. At one point, Alvarez seemed to mishear Plant's words, thinking that he had said something about his mother, and that really set the Mexican off.
I know a lot of you when I say that I'm going to win November 6th, because I am going to win November 6th, that you don't believe me. You said he was going to dog walk me, and what happened? He got his ass dog walked, and he got set on his ass twice. So Miguel Cotto's brother can make you do the chicken dance, but I can't? Yeah, okay. So mark my words, November 6th, you will hear the words, and the new undisputed super middleweight. That's funny? You think that's funny? Yeah? Well, keep laughing. You keep laughing, okay? Because you know when you're gonna find out? Real. And you know when you're gonna find out? The same time everybody else found out. And you know when that was? You know when they found out? When it was too late. And you a too. You know the only difference between you and him is he's a fat ass and you a what the you gonna do? And you a drug cheat. And you a drug cheat.
Don't make excuses before the fight.
You got suspended for 6 months. You're a
Say
cheater.
whatever you say. See you November 6th. You're gonna see something special on you. You know what I do, and you know what I come to with this guy November 6th.
You know, cheating. That's not. People don't cheat out of confidence. People cheat out of fear. And you know, he went to trial and he got suspended for 6 months. So it is what it is. He's a cheater. The question was about the drugs, right? And the only thing you've talked about is blah 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 bullshit sweeping under the
cup.
Or what? Or what?
You will see November 6th.
Or what? All right, then wait November 6th.
You know what?
Plant had the confidence of a man who already had a belt on his shoulder, and he promised the world that his discipline, his focus, and his talent would make him much more than a match for the highly feared and heavily favored Canelo. Canelo, on the other hand, seemed... Boxing is the type of sport where the older fighters often find themselves matched up with the younger rising talents, just so the promoter can use their already established name to build up a potentially marketable prospect. And while it's not written in stone that the older fighter will lose, you usually do see it play out like that. And for Tony Harrison, by the time he was set up to take on the super prospect Tszyu, he'd already been down this path before. Harrison had already lost to a rising Jermell Charlo, getting finished by him while learning a tough lesson about his current place within the rankings. Tszyu, son of the legendary Tszyu, was another rising fighter who looked set to put together a very solid run at the top of the division.
Where do you see Tim as most vulnerable?
Everywhere. He's everywhere. He's vulnerable everywhere. He's vulnerable to get hit, body and head. He's vulnerable when he's going back on his back foot, mostly, so expect the unexpected. Well, no matter the outcome, if they cheat me or not, the world gets to see it, man. I'm going in there to do Tony's job, and Tony's job is to kick ass. He's just a basic fighter, man. He just shows me nothing a high level of skill of a setup for a high level skill fighter. I think people are giving him more credit than he deserves when it comes down to the power aspect of it. Do I think he hit harder than Jermell? Nah. Do I think he hit harder than her? Nah. Basic means that he does nothing that nobody doesn't see with the naked eye. You know what I mean? That's what a basic fighter does. You know, he just, like I said, one gear straight ahead, pressure, throw as many shots as I can, take as many shots as I can, give harder shots than I gave.
But pre-fight, Harrison did everything in his power to try and dismiss his opponent's skills. In his eyes, Tim brought nothing special to the table, nothing that could stand in the way of his own veteran experience and ring savvy. Tszyu wasn't the hitter that Charlo was, nor did he do anything that wasn't incredibly obvious, according to Tony. But on fight night, he was proven wrong. Woefully wrong. The first round was more of a feeling out process than anything else. But when Tszyu started to find his range, he began going to work. Hard shots in round 3 gave Harrison some real trouble, and in that moment, he clearly started to understand that he had underestimated his opponent greatly. But in round 9, after a clear and dominant display, Tim Tszyu started to work on getting his man out of there. And once Harrison's legs started to leave him, a combo from the Australian fighter dropped Tony to the mat. The ref took one look at his feeble attempt to get back up and decided that enough was enough. Tony Harrison realized in that moment that he was only a pawn in the game, a stepping stone to allow the superior talent to progress up the rankings. All his trash talk had been for nothing, and we have yet to see Tony Harrison return to the ring and salvage what he can after this brutal, one-sided fight. There have been many great trash talkers over the years, but no one speaks with a level of venom held by Mike Tyson. It seemed like the more he grew into the sport of boxing, the more vicious he became. And in his now infamous post-fight call-out of Lennox Lewis, Tyson declared to the world that he was a different beast, that Lewis was no conqueror, and that only he, Mike Tyson, could be put on the same level as the heavyweight greats of the last century. He even voiced his desire to eat Lennox's children. Seriously, this was a wild call-out.
I don't know, man. Yeah, Lennox Lewis, Lennox, I'm coming for you. I was gonna rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lennox is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. And I'm just ferocious. I want your heart. I want to eat his children. Praise be to Allah.
Champion of the world, Mike Tyson. Then I'll illustrate my reign with bloodshed and pain. Then everybody will fear me. That tremble in the bones. There's nothing superior than him about me. He has nothing superior than me. There's nothing about him. If anything, he's the homo sapien, I'm the homo superior. There's no one that can match me. That means nothing. I've been champion, had 12 defenses, fought all styles, every style. Top men, everybody more experienced than me. This would be new for him to fight somebody more experienced than him that knows how to fight. That's not afraid of him. This is one time he's going to get hit. I'll take his life. That's what I do.
Lewis was the man to beat at the time, the finest heavyweight fighter to come out of the UK maybe ever. And for Tyson, his road back to the top of the sport hadn't been an easy one. In fact, this 36-year-old had quite a lot to prove to those who felt like he lost a step or two over the years. But by the time Tyson finally made it to the ring with Lennox, he was certainly not the same fighter he once was. Prison had taken time off his prime, and Lennox Lewis was in the process of carving out a legacy as maybe the greatest heavyweight of his generation. Tyson had already lost to Buster Douglas and twice to Evander Holyfield at this stage, and Lewis, the champion, had successfully avenged both of his career defeats through violent knockouts. Fans anticipated one of the defining bouts of the era, but in reality, this was the king of the 80s against a very modern fighter. Lewis dominated the bout from the second round onwards, showing superior skill and overall accuracy to keep Tyson at bay. With each passing minute, Iron Mike was landing less and less, until the 8th round came and a heavy right cross put the former champ down. And when he hit the canvas, he was barely able to even make an attempt to get back up. Tyson had talked so viciously pre-fight about all the advantages he'd have coming in, but when the time came to back it up, he pretty much fell apart under the pressure of a much cleaner, younger, and more talented opponent. Lewis won the fight by KO, and comprehensively ended any further talk of Mike Tyson as a top-level contender. 3 years later, he'd retire from the sport, citing a lack of desire to compete anymore. Would a prime Mike Tyson have done better? Probably. But who knows if the even younger Iron Mike would have had enough in his locker to deal with a fighter as masterful as Lennox Lewis. And finally, we come to perhaps the most famous trash talker of the last 20 years. A man who single-handedly dragged MMA into a level of exposure that no one could have thought possible a decade ago. No man in combat sports today talks more trash than Conor McGregor. In fact, he probably has more verbal warfare compilations than any fighter in history right now. And the way he dissects his opponents generally helps him when it comes to forcing them into mistakes mid-fight.
As far as the fight, he will be unconscious inside 4 rounds. The movement, the power, the ferociousness, he's not experienced this. He's fought people who have shied away from him. I don't fear him. I don't fear this limited set of fighting. This is a limited set of rules that makes this half a fight, a quarter of a fight. This isn't a true fight. If this was a true fight, it wouldn't even take 1 round.
Do some slap head. Boom. What the f is he wearing? He looks like a little break dancer or something, a little 12-year-old break dancer. What the f? He's 40. You're 40 years of age. Dress your fucking age. Carrying a school bag on stage. What are you doing with a school bag on stage? You can't even read. 40 years old carrying a school bag. The man doesn't even fucking read.
One thing we do know. The fucking fans can't fight for you.
Shut your fucking mouth.
But when McGregor came face-to-face with Floyd Mayweather, it was his first experience with an opponent who not only had the mental toughness needed to laugh off his attack, but he also had the technical mastery in the ring to be competent in his ability to hold Conor off. And though their pre-fight press tour might fool you into thinking that Conor was holding his own, Mayweather was literally toying with him, knowing full well that the Irishman had absolutely no chance of winning on fight night. This was a lifetime boxer, the finest fighter of his generation, taking on an MMA athlete who never once boxed professionally. McGregor's mission was doomed from the start, although he did manage to make the most of it for sure. Conor took shots at Floyd for anything that he could think of: his fighting style, his appearance, his lack of reading skills, anything. It was actually funny to see Floyd sit back and realize that he barely needed to put in any effort to promote this fight. McGregor did all the heavy lifting there, and Mayweather was about to make hundreds of millions of dollars because of it. And sure enough, when this 10-round contest kicked off, we saw Floyd going to work. Sure, he let McGregor punch himself out in the early rounds, and in some ways, Conor did better than expected. But overall, Mayweather was the one leading the dance. An early uppercut from Conor in the first round was enough to get his fans excited about the possibility of an upset. But what most MMA fans coming over didn't realize was that Floyd Mayweather was a master tactician, and if he lost the first 2 or 3 rounds, then so be it. Once Mayweather figured Conor out, this bout got a whole lot more one-sided. The Irishman's gas tank began to fail him in the middle rounds, and even though he was in his early 40s at this point, Floyd's cardio has never once been in question. McGregor had talked a big game coming in, and he did outperform some expectations when the action kicked off. But Floyd was never really going to lose this one, and when the 10th round stoppage came, it was expected. Conor's form in MMA dipped pretty considerably after this. Was it the extended time away from his own sport that finally caught up with him? Or did he learn a lesson about the levels that exist in fighting that dampened his ego a touch? We may never know, but this was Floyd Mayweather's night. Of that, there can be no doubt. That said, both guys can be considered winners considering that they each netted a 9-figure payday for their efforts. A crazy night for the fight business.